A fraction is defined as any part of a whole. Common fractions consist of three components: the denominator, the numerator, and the fraction bar. Fractions allow us to view parts of a whole in a meaningful way. Let's use a fraction to describe this pizza. The denominator of a fraction tells us how many equal parts there are, or what we're taking a portion of. If we look closely, we see that the pizza is separated into 4 equal portions. Therefore, a fraction that describes the pizza will have a denominator of 4. The numerator is the number on the top and tells us what parts the fraction is representing. In this case, we're representing the part of the pizza that has pepperoni. Only one portion has pepperoni on it, therefore 1/4 of the pizza is pepperoni. We've described this pizza using fractions. In this case, we have 4 equal parts of a pizza. The fraction bar separates the numerator from the denominator. Equivalent fractions have the same value even though their number or illustrations may look different. Equivalent fractions are fractions that are the same or equal. This number line illustrates the relationship between fractions of different values. Fractions that are vertically aligned are equivalent. There are 3 simple steps for multiplying fractions. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and simplify if needed. Let's work the problem. 1/4 times 3/4. First, multiply the numerators and put the result in the numerator of the answer. Next, multiply the denominators and put the result in the denominator of the answer. This fraction is already in its reduced form, so there's no need to simplify. Let's try another. Multiply 3/4 by 4/5. First, multiply the numerators. Next, multiply the denominators. Finally, simplify. Dividing fractions is very similar to multiplying fractions, but there's one additional step. To divide, you must first find the reciprocal, or flip over the second fraction and change the division sign to multiplication. This is called multiplying by the reciprocal. For example, here we have 1/4 divided by 3/4. First, flip the second fraction. 3/4 now becomes 4/3. This new fraction is the reciprocal of the original. Then change the division sign to multiplication. Next, continue as if you were multiplying. Multiply the numerators straight across the top to get 4, and the denominators straight across the bottom to get 12. Finally, simplify the answer to 1/3. Here's another example. 3/4 divided by 3/8. First, find the reciprocal, which is 8/3, and change the division sign to multiplication. Then multiply straight across the top to get 24 and straight across the bottom to get 12. Finally, simplify and get 2/1, which reduces to 2. There are 3 simple steps to adding fractions. First, make sure the fractions have common denominators. This means that their denominators are the same. Then add the numerators and put the answer over the original denominator. Simplify if needed. Let's add 1/8 and 2/8. Check that both denominators are the same. In this case, they are. Add the numerators, 1 plus 2, which equals 3. Put this answer over the original denominator of 8. Since 3 and 8 cannot be divided equally, we don't need to simplify. Here's another example. 1/16 plus 5/16. Add the numerators, which equal 6, and put this answer over the original denominator of 16. Since both 6 and 16 can be equally divided by 2, we need to simplify. Dividing both by 2 gives us a final answer of 3/8. If the denominators of a fraction are not the same, we must first find a common denominator before adding or subtracting. To do so, first find the least common multiple. Then multiply by an equivalent fraction of 1 to make the denominators the same, and finally continue on with the addition or subtraction. For example, let's find the common denominator between 1/2 and 3/8 so that we may add them. First, find the least common multiple between the denominators 2 and 8. A multiple is a number that can be divided equally by another number. Multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, and so on. In this example, the least or smallest multiple of 2 and 8 is 8. To change the denominator in 1/2 to an 8, we must multiply it by a fraction equivalent to 1. The fraction 4/4 will allow us to change the denominator of the fraction without changing its value. Now we can return to the original problem and continue with our addition. Since the fraction 3/8 already has an 8 for a denominator, we don't need to change it. Continuing with our addition yields an answer of 7/8. Subtracting works similar to addition. First, ensure the denominators are the same. In this case, they are. Next, subtract the numerators and put the answer over the denominator. Finally, divide by the greatest common multiple to simplify the answer.